And next up is Psycho Fox. Yeah, everyone's favorite. It's got a fox in a tracksuit, or whatever you call them. You know, those running type clothes, the shirts without the sleeve. Anyway, this game is the spiritual, not the spiritual successor, but the spiritual predecessor, I guess you could call it, to Decapitac on the Genesis. Another game that people are unlikely to know about, and it's also very, very hard. There's a lot of momentum that goes into the running mechanics. Oh yeah, here's the different characters that we can switch to, but you need an item for that, so we'll hold off on that for now. Anyway, yes, it's momentum based, and it makes everything way harder than it should be. But that's normal for these old games. Yeah, we're gonna be here a while. So you basically can't stop on those green stones there, or else you won't have enough momentum to get to the next one. Fun, fun, fun. Ah, shit. Gotta get a running start, and... okay. Fuck. Yes, indeed. So like I said, we're basically just gonna be running through this first level for the entirety of this video. That's how it goes. I've got an idea. Just switching topics here, roaming around in my head for how I can churn these videos out faster. Oh yeah, we're gonna switch characters here. Sorry to keep jumping from topics like this, but anyway, I've got an idea for how I can churn these videos out more quickly. I can start using a text-to-speech for when I don't have time to record because my family's here. They'd start asking questions about what the hell are you doing, and it would all show up on the recording. So yeah, I could use a text-to-speech for certain episodes. You guys might find that entertaining, maybe? Or maybe not, who knows. These characters' expressions look very Japanese whenever they jump. The way their eyes turn into lines and their mouths open. Very old-school anime style, like the one with the blue cat. It was Doraemon, that's what his name was. I should play some Doraemon games on this channel, even though I don't really have any prior knowledge of what it is, and I'd probably upset the Doraemon fan base for not treating it with the respect that it deserves. Okay, that bird I've got here, that's another example of how this game was a predecessor to Decapitac, because in Decapitac you have a skull that you can throw around, which functions essentially identical to the way that this bird functions. So yeah, it's probably made by the same team. The copyright information just says Sega, so we don't really have any specifics as to who exactly made this, but somebody at Sega, I guess. Okay, here we go again. 2 lives. You getting tired of looking at the beginning of this level yet? I hope not, because you're gonna see it a bunch. So, I don't think they made any other Psycho Fox games over the years, and certainly too late now. Nobody remembers Psycho Fox. Why should they? There's nothing too remarkable about this. This is the first Master System game to be played on this channel. That's something. The Sega Master System. Not a whole lot of exciting stuff of note with the Sega Master System. It is a decent system, though, for the time. More powerful than the NES. Mostly popular in Brazil and Europe. Didn't really do too well anywhere else. And so both those regions got a fair amount of exclusives. I can't really name any right off. But yeah, there was a Brazilian company, Tectoy, that kept making Master System games long after the system had been discontinued, and none of them were particularly good, but something of note, the fact that Master System games were still coming out at such a late point in the system's life cycle, well, after the system's life cycle, actually. I get the invincibility thing, and it's gone already. Just like that hilarious meme with the "and it's gone." It can be... I like how that punch on that enemy still took effect after I had died. Just kind of it makes you realize how this is coded. How all your attacks are still permanent, and dying doesn't really change that. Just an interesting note, because, like, in Super Mario World, if you were to die or something, like, you wouldn't be, you know how your character jumps up in the air and then flies off, or falls off, like, if you were to somehow hit a Goomba on your way down, you wouldn't be able to kill the Goomba, because it's basically, because when you die in that game, it basically just freezes the screen and plays that one animation, but in this game, everything's still moving around when your character dies, and very interesting. Alrighty, I gradually get a little further with each attempt. Well, in some of them. Overall, there's some progress, but not enough, unfortunately. I like that stretchy thing. Those physics probably weren't possible on the NES. Not enough to save the Master System, though. There's an enemy in there. Okay, it was okay that time, but that one gets me quite a few times throughout the series. I actually had to cut this episode down quite a bit. I recorded about 20 minutes worth of stuff, but most of it's not really worth anything, because I figured if I just kept going, sooner or later I'd get to that end of the level, and finally get to see what level 2 looks like, but that never happened. Not even once, so I just cut all that extra stuff out. Such is life. This part sucks. Kinda... That piece really blocks your momentum. I did okay there, but thinking other... Yeah, that piece is gonna be a problem. Oh, dearie. Just a little further. You know what they say, you don't win, you just do a little better every time. You know what that's from? Probably not. Oh, dear me. So what have I been doing lately? Oh yeah, for some reason the RetroArch prompt just randomly decided to show up there even though the controller was already connected. I don't really understand why it did that, but it did. So, there's a new version of RetroArch that's been released since this has been recorded, so maybe they fixed that in the new one. Hard to say. I don't think it's significant enough of a problem to actually warrant some kind of action from the developers. But maybe some other code that they were doing might have fixed it by accident without them realizing it. That's typically how it goes. You change one line of code and it has some other effect somewhere that you didn't even realize. It's like this GIF I saw once from the cartoon We Bare Bears. It said, programming in a nutshell. And the three bears, they're at the doctor's office, and the doctor hits one bear's knee with the knee reflex testing thing, and then a different bear does a kick even though he wasn't even a part of it. It was just funny. Okay. Fuck. I never do figure out that you're not supposed to hit that egg. I'm incapable of learning. And again. This is just sadistic. Here we go. Yeah. What do you even say about Psycho Fox at this point? I think I've used up all my Master System facts. Has Did You Know Gaming ever done a Master System episode? Might be mildly interesting, I guess. You never know. Can't imagine what they would talk about. They could talk about how the earlier models were called the Mark III or something like that. I don't know if that's actually true, but... because I know the Mark III is connected to the Master System somehow, but I think it had slightly different hardware. Or something to that effect. You know, I don't think there was ever a game that really took full advantage of the Master System's hardware, because, I remember reading that one of the parts in it was actually... I can't remember which part specifically, but one of the parts used in the Master System was equivalent in horsepower to a different part that was found in the SNES. I just found that rather odd. Maybe it was the CPU or something? Or maybe I'm just pulling all this out of my arse. Arsenal of Doom. I wish Sega was still around. Well, you know, the good Sega, not the crappy one like today. They used to make tons of good stuff. They'd crank out 20 games a year, and the quality was hit and miss, but on the whole it was still good. I'd rather have 20 games that are maybe like a 6 or 7 out of 10 than one game that's an 8 out of 10. Yeah, there are fewer games being produced overall these days, because because it takes so much more resources. Everything's got the budget of basically a big Hollywood movie, and god damn it, stupid talking mushroom. I assume that's a mushroom. I don't know. Alright, 1 life left. Past that. Build up some momentum. Did that. And get back here. Don't you love it when Let's Players just make very simple and uninteresting observations about what's currently happening on screen? It's always super interesting. Let's switch up characters just for yucks. Or maybe not. Okay, yeah, I just hit the wrong button the first time. We're gonna be the Hippoman. He doesn't jump as high, but I'm sure there's some other advantage to having him in here. But it's too late now. I had no way of knowing that I was gonna land on that thing. Well, that was Psycho Fox, I guess, if you're still interested in finding out what the second level looks like, you could always just look up a walkthrough made by somebody more talented than me. Okay.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.